Hey guys, so I thought I'd show you my installation of my Scangauge 3 and how I routed it through to the dashboard. It was actually quite hard to film this while I was actually doing it because you need two hands to actually manipulate everything through, but I'm going to hopefully explain where I did it and you'll see that it's pretty straightforward.
Okay, so firstly let's look what comes in the box. You've got the gauge itself, you've got a magnetic adhesive window mount, and you've got the OBD cable along with a couple of magnetic pads to fix it to.
So the first thing is to locate your OBD2 port, which in my case, if you look where the bonnet release is there and you come down underneath, it's basically just up there. I'll see if I can just tap it with this is it here. It's a little white plug, and the first thing that you do is you plug your cable and your OBD cable into that there where you can see mine is plugged in. So just there, I'm illuminating it with a torch and filming it with the other hand. So then the second part of the installation, which again is fairly straightforward, is to take this rubber seal, which you can see here, runs down the side. I've got the front door open. Take this rubber seal and to pull this away from about here to here. Once you pull that away, you can take a pry tool, a thin pry tool like this one, and just lever it under here. Now I've already done this, so I'm not going to do it again, but if you lever about here in the middle and you just lever up gently and then you slowly move round, this whole panel here pops out. Once that pops out, you'll be able to pull your cable up the side, push it in the channel where the rubber seal goes, push the rubber seal back into place, and you can see mine is coming out just here, and it looks fairly neat. Now I've got a dash mat installed on my Prado, so this is the magnetic holder that I talked about earlier, and I've got the cable threaded under the dash mat, and that's the little plug that goes into the back of the Scangauge. So that's my setup there. So the next step is to take your Scangauge, and if you flip it over, got to do two things. Firstly, stick the magnetic pad that is supplied with the kit, unpeel the 3M tape off the back, stick your magnetic pad onto the back like I've done, and then you can see the little socket where the cable goes in. It's pretty explanatory which way round the cable goes, and then that cable that I fed through fits into the back of it, and I'll show you what that looks like when it's mounted. Okay, so there you go. I've plugged my Scangauge in, and it gives you a couple of notices. So you've got to press accept. There's a tutorial if you want the tutorial. I've already done that. Now, one thing I do recommend is that you connect it to your home Wi-Fi. This is the current version on mine. I did upload it though. I was on a version earlier. So my Wi-Fi I know is okay. So press no there. And then this is the screen that you get. Now, it's not going to boot up because the car's turned off, but let me turn the car on and we'll see what happens when I do that. Sorry about the camera shake. Okay, so I've just started the car. Just takes a few seconds to connect to the car, and you can see all the things have lit up now. So the first step you should do is to press the more button and go to setup. Now here you can actually set up your display colors. If you don't like the colors, if you tap up here and you go to vehicle, this is where you put in your fuel tank size, the size of your engine, and your fuel type. Hopefully you can see that without too much reflection. Once you've pressed the vehicle tab, you can go to units, and here it lets you select what units you would like. So obviously you've got temperature units, distance units, volume units, pressure units, the currency you use for fuel, because obviously you can calculate your accurate fuel usage, and then turn on this button that says litres per 100 kilometers. If you go to the next one, if you've got different tires fitted to your car above the regular, then you can actually change your speed on here. So you can adjust your speedo on here so you get accurate information on your fuel usage. The final button here is the advanced button, and you can go into things like the Wi-Fi update, the update rate, how frequently you want the display to update, etc. Now this has gone back to the display screen. There's a little button here at the bottom, that's your home button. So once you go back to your home button, you go back to this screen here, and then you can press gauges. So I've already set this up. This is not set up. It'll be set up in fuel cost when you get your units. But you can see what I've done is on the second tab, I've got my fuel cost. And on the first tab, which is here, if I can get my finger in, that is my primary tab. You can see there's 3 tabs of 9 displays, and each of these displays you can actually customize. So I've got my first display set to what I think are useful things for me, which is the battery voltage, and you can see my alternators charging at about 4.2 volts. My coolant temp is 44 degrees. I've got my exhaust gas temperature, and again I've just turned the car on so it's quite low. Got the intake temp, I've got the engine load. It's not showing any litres per 100 k's at the moment because I'm not moving. I've got my diesel particulate filter load and my 2 transmission temps. Now trans temp 1 is the sump, trans temp 2 is the torque converter. So I've now switched back to that second tab, and again you can see this has got all the fuel information. It's showing I've had the car started for 3 minutes and 4 minutes, and the other displays are not showing yet because you've got to fill your tank up twice before it actually gives you an accurate reading. So I've done 1 fill. When my tank gets to about half full, I'm going to fill it up again, and then you put in how much fuel you've bought in terms of litres and cost, and it will start to give you accurate fuel usage figures. So now I've just switched to my third tab, and you can see I've just got that set up with fuel and driving times and things like that. So they're the 3 displays. Now you can actually customize these displays. You can either have it in a 3x3 format like this, you can have it in a 2x2 format, a 2x3 format. So it's really flexible and customizable to allow you to set the Scangauge 3 up how you want it. Now I've just gone back to the home screen. One other thing that is really good is the X gauge. So what you can do is once you're set up, you can press the X gauge. You can select your select auto scan here, and then select from, after you select auto scan, you can select your make of car. Now obviously mine's a Toyota. If you scroll down you'll see Toyota Lexus is in there. I'm not going to do this because I've already set this up. But once you select your car brand and you select and you scan it, it will bring up Toyota specific gauges, which you can then add to your list of gauges that you can select from. So that's a really handy feature as well. So going back to the home screen again, the other thing that you'll probably want to do is to press this fill up tab here, and this is where you put in how much fuel you've added. It's got your tank size that you've previously put in. and when you buy fuel, you put in exactly how many litres and you put in the price that you paid, and you press save. And after you've done this twice, it will calculate accurately how much you are paying for your fuel and what your real accurate litres per 100 kilometre is, because I have found probably the car is not that accurate. So I hope that's a useful hint as well. Okay, well that's Scangauge 3, a brief explanation. The one thing I didn't show you in the video is if you press the scan button, obviously, it will scan for engine faults. I don't have any engine faults at the moment, but I have done a scan just to check, and it showed I had no codes. My main usage is really to monitor gauges and stuff like that. I'm about to embark on a trip across Australia. I thought it'd be really useful to proactively monitor some things that you might not know are going on. If you get an engine light, you can obviously clear the engine light if it's something minor. If you go into something like limp mode and you're stuck a long way from home, hopefully it'll allow you to clear the code, get out of limp mode and get somewhere where you can get some help. But Scangauge 3 I think is really useful, and for me it's certainly worth the investment, and I hope my explanation of it's been fairly useful to people. See you in the next video, guys.